Welcome back to a new video. You've probably heard about those legendary creatures with two heads in stories, right? Like the Chimera, with a lion head and a goat head, or Orthrus, the double-headed dog. Well, believe it or not, sometimes that stuff happens for real. It's called being bicephalic, and it's when animals are born with two heads. It's like a birth defect that goes down when an embryo doesn't split up completely. So, let's dive into this list of 10 shocking animals born with two heads. Are you new to this channel? I really appreciate you subscribing and hitting the notification bell. Number 1. Zack and Wheezy, the two-headed bearded dragon. There's this two-headed bearded dragon lizard named Zack and Wheezy, and they're living the wild life on the Witt's family farm in Fowler, California. Barbara Witt, their owner and the dragon queen with 9 bearded dragons, spilled the tea that these two hatched right under her roof. Despite sharing a heart and lungs, the dynamic duo's got their own brains, which makes decision-making a real challenge. Barbara is the ultimate dragon mom, taking Zack and Wheezy everywhere she goes, and the reactions they get are straight up priceless. These two even scored a gig on Animal Planet. Talk about dragon celebrities. But here's the sad part. Zack and Wheezy left this world before hitting the big 9. Rest in peace to the coolest two-headed dragons around. By the way, did you know there's this dope animated show called Dragon Tales? They've got their own Zack and Wheezy, a two-headed dragon too. In the show, Zack's the green dude, with blue spikes, handling the right side, while Wheezy's the purple sis with fuchsia spikes, rocking the left side. Crazy, right? Two-headed dragons in real life and on TV. It's a wild world. Number 2. Lucky, the two-headed cat. Down in Campbellsville, Kentucky, Stan McCubbin knows the cattle life like the back of his hand. But even for him, the unexpected is part of the game. Imagine this. One of his cows gives birth to a double-headed calf. They named the little guy Lucky, thanks to Stan's 5-year-old daughter. Now, Lucky isn't just a cool name, it's legit. Most calves with two heads don't even make it out alive. And if they do, it's just for a short stint, a couple of hours, maybe a few days. There's even a record holder in Ripley's Believe It or Not, clocking in at 40 days. But Lucky, this little legend, outlived them all. Her story went viral, hitting up newspapers, airwaves, and screens nationwide. People from all corners of the globe were tuning in to see how Lucky was doing against the odds. Fast forward to day 108 of her crazy life, just a week before a potential vet visit for surgery, and unfortunately, she didn't make it. Tough break for the little cow that captured hearts everywhere. Number 3. Janice, the two-headed Greek tortoise. Guess what? There's this rad tortoise named Janice, and he just hit the big 26 at his crib, the Natural History Museum in Geneva, Switzerland. Now, before you think it's just another birthday bash, here's the scoop. Janice is no ordinary tortoise. This dude has got two heads, and each head brings its own personality to the party. Janice is like the OG bicephalous tortoise, and the caretakers at the museum say he's a total survival champ. Born in 1997, he's already rocking the title of the world's oldest two-headed tortoise. Greek tortoises are known to kick it for over 120 years, some even hitting the 200-year mark in the wild. But as a pet, they usually tap out around 50 to 100 years. Janice, with his double trouble heads, wouldn't have lasted long in the wild. Now, this tortoise isn't just a name, it's a whole vibe. Janice, named after the Roman god of duality, brings two different personalities to the table. The left head is the chill one, all about calm vibes and grub in on food. On the flip side, the right head is more on the alert, active, and speculative side. Janice lives the good life with a dedicated staff making sure he's living his best tortoise days. Daily massages, baths in green tea and chamomile, a VIP diet of organic fruits and veggies, walks, and even rides on a custom skateboard. This tortoise's life is on another level. The caretaker even chats with him and plays soothing tunes to wake him up. With this much love and care, Janice is set to break even more records for how long a two-headed tortoise can rock on. Number 4. Tom and Jerry, the two-headed California king snake. When you hear Tom and Jerry, you're probably picturing that classic cartoon about a cat chasing a clever mouse, right? Tom's the sly cat, and Jerry's the quick-witted mouse. But hold up, in this video, we're switching gears to a different Tom and Jerry, the dynamic duo of a two-headed California king snake who took a trip around Europe. Back in 2018, this 17-year-old Californian king snake stole the show at the Reptile Expo in Villeneuve, Switzerland. Picture this, Europe's biggest traveling reptile exhibition, boasting over 200 creatures, and our guy Tom and Jerry is the main attraction. Now, don't be fooled by their fierce appearance. Tom and Jerry isn't a threat to us humans. However, the Californian king snake, to which they belong, is a real player in the snake world. They're immune to the venom of heavy hitters like rattlesnakes and have a reputation for taking on other snakes. Watch out, though, they they've been known to get a bit cannibalistic. In the wild, these snakes can rock for 10 to 15 years, but put them in captivity, and they might even hit the 20-year mark or more. So, while the cartoon Tom and Jerry are all about crazy antics, this snake duo is out here touring Europe and making waves in the reptile scene. Number 5. Squirt and Crush, the two-headed loggerhead turtle. In 2019, there's this crew keeping tabs on sea turtles in Hilton Head Island, South Carolina. During one of their beach patrols, they stumbled upon a two-headed loggerhead hatchling. Imagine that, a double-headed baby sea turtle. They named it Squirt and Crush, and these little dudes were found chillin' at the bottom of a nest during a beach excavation. Squirt and Crush were alive and kicking, so they decided to give them a taste of ocean life. The park biologists, being the cool scientists they are, skipped the whole intensive care thing because these tiny turtles were doing just fine. Despite the potential for genetic deformities in sea turtles, Squirt and Crush were in good health and even had solid flipper functions once they hit the water. After giving them a once-over, the biologists sent Squirt and Crush back into the big blue. Now, loggerhead turtles with just one head are the most common sea turtle species in the US, and they can rock it for 70 to 80 years, or maybe even longer. But here's the twist, Squirt and Crush, despite being healthy, might not have the same long-haul journey because of their genetic twist. It makes you wonder, right? Are Squirt and Crush still cruising the waves out there? Maybe they should have slapped a tiny tracker on them so we could get the information on their sea turtle adventures. Number 6. Two-headed bull shark. Check out this crazy fisherman's tale from 2013. This dude, working off the Florida Keys, hooked a bull shark and decided to see what was inside. To everyone's surprise, this shark had not one, but 2 live fetuses in its belly, and one of them was rocking 2 heads. Talk about a double trouble shark. The fisherman kept this oddball specimen and hooked up with some scientists to spill the details. The scientists were like, yeah, we've seen other shark species, like blue sharks and taupe sharks, with 2 heads, but this is the first time a bull shark's pulled this dicephalic stunt. Technically, they call this funky deformity axial bifurcation, and it happens when the embryo starts splitting into 2 separate organisms, kinda like twins, but then fails to complete the job. Now, bull sharks are no joke. Many experts dub them the most dangerous sharks in the world. These aggressive predators love to hang out in waters where people like to swim, especially along tropical shorelines. Typically, bull sharks live for 12 to 16 years, but that 2-headed fetus? Well, it probably wouldn't have survived long in the wild. Imagine trying to be a speedy predator with a funky mutation. Catching those fast-moving fish would be a total struggle. Number 7. Two-headed crocodile. A wild story from late June 2001. On the outskirts of Bangkok, Thailand, at the Samet Prakarn Crocodile Farm, the staff got hit with a shocker. Turns out, one of their new baby crocs came into the world conjoined to a twin. In this video, staff from the farm showing off this 2-headed wonder that seems to be in good health. This little crocodile isn't just doubling down on heads. It's got 2 sets of almost everything, only sharing the bottom part of its body. It measures in at 6.7 inches and tips the scales at 70 grams. Now, despite looking good so far, the experts are giving it to us straight. This crocodile, due to where it's connected, would likely face a bunch of challenges in its life. Number 8. Two-headed bobtail lizard. Bobtail lizard, a chill, short-tailed blue-tongued skink that's native to Australia. You might commonly know it as the shingleback or sleepy lizard, but what's not so common is seeing one with 2 heads instead of the usual single setup. So, on April 22, 2010, in Perth, Australia, there's this unnamed 2-headed bobtail making waves. It landed in a new crib at a reptile park in Henley Brook after some workers from the park rescued it in Coogee, New South Wales. Now, this little dude is living it up in the reptile park, doing surprisingly well, even though 2-headed lizards aren't exactly known for long life expectancies. Here's the deal, this lizard isn't just rocking double heads, it's got a set of 4 legs on each side of those heads. And get this, it can chow down with both mouths. But there's a downside to the double head situation. Moving around is a bit of a challenge, and the bigger head has a habit of trying to throw down with the smaller one. Number 9. TwoHeaded Neotropical F Bat. In 2001, under a mango tree in the Viana forests of southeastern Brazil, someone stumbled upon a bat with not 1, but 2 heads. These bats were no regular ones. They turned out to be neotropical fruit bats, the kind you find cruising around in South and Central America and parts of the Caribbean. Now, these bats are no giants. They typically hit an average length of 5 to 10 centimeters and weigh between 10 to 85 grams. After the discovery, scientists took these 2-headed wonders and dunked them in a 70% ethanol solution to keep their tissues in check for some serious scientific study. Over the years, researchers dug into studying these bats, and their findings suggest that they were either stillborn or kicked the bucket shortly after birth since their placenta was still hanging around. Out in the wild, the odds of these two-headed bats surviving for more than a few days weren't looking too great anyway. Now, here's the cool part, X-ray images spilled the beans that these bats had two complete sets of forelimbs and hind limbs, just like your regular bat. But the twist? They had separate spines that fused down into a single lumbar region. At the time, these bats were only the third pair of conjoined twins ever recorded in the bat world. Number 10. Frank and Louie, the two-headed cat. This cat is not exactly two-headed, but two-faced. Let me introduce you to Frank and Louie, or, as some call them, Frank and Louie. This cat is what's known as a diprosopus, also tagged with names like Janice or Two-Faced. It's got this crazy condition, but here's the twist. Frank and Louie defied the odds and lived a pretty impressive life. A breeder brought this double-faced feline to the Cummings School of Veterinary Medicine when it was just a kitten. Most Janice animals don't make it past a few days, but this little one caught a lucky break. Veterinary nurse Martha Stevens took him in, started tube feeding the little dude for 3 months, and guess what? Frank and Louie not only learned to eat on their own but straight up thrived. The Guinness Book of World Records even gave props to Frank and Louie in 2012, dubbing them the longest surviving Janice cats. The internet caught wind of this duo, making them online celebrities with features in news articles and videos all over the place. But here's the bummer, in 2014, Frank and Louie had to be put down due to some aggressive cancer. They clocked in at an impressive 15 years old, way beyond what anyone expected for a Janice cat. And those are our 10 shocking animals born with two heads. Have you ever seen some animals with two heads in the wild or as pets? Which animal on the list shocks you the most? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.